Everybody, this is Matt Rosa tapping in really quick before you get into part two of this special edition of Infamously Speaking. Just to let y'all know, if you haven't gotten the opportunity to listen to part one, suggest you go and do it. Awesome conversation that really flows into part two of this episode. And one last thing before I get you into the show, as always, if you fuck with the podcast, please like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Only helps the podcast grow and helps support exclusive content like this. And as always, think critically, speak infamously. Enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that's where, tying it back to the conversation we're having about hip hop, rap, and music in general, which is, you need people like that kind of transcend and draw people that maybe might not listen. So,
right, you have certain artists or certain people that come out that they make songs. I mean, it could be a one hit wonder or whatever that'll turn people into fans, right? You have somebody that have longevity that like a Jay-Z or Eminem or Kanye, that people are just the fans, and then just turns people into fans for the genre. But however, there's certain caveats with that, because it's like, okay, so they're making you a fan the genre of music, but they're making you a fan of rap, not hip hop. Because how many people come in and they listen to Annie Up, which is probably the most commercially used
she's everywhere,
right? That say, oh wow, I like this song, I like this kind of music. This is what I'm gonna do, right? Because it wasn't as commercially successful,
right? Well, I think there's at that point it really is on the consumer. Again, depending on what your motive is. Like, if your motive is to try to get somebody to encourage somebody, like, hey, let me do a little bit more research on this hip hop thing, right? But one thing I wanted to bring up, because we kind of talked about this group a little bit, was when we were talking about the whole fashion scene, which is Run DMC, My Adidas, but their Walk This Way record was monumental, especially because
oh my God,
and that
what a good fucking song.
That brought so many people that would have never ever touched hip hop, thought about hip hop, to be like, hey, wait a second, wait a second.
As far as I'm concerned, man, I mean, it was just
let's do
that. It was just so brilliant. Like, it was just so brilliant. But like, I'm thinking about it and I get chills, because it's bringing me back to my youth or whatever. And it was just so brilliant the way they did it with such a popular metal group or whatever, and just the way the video was done and it was directed, and the way that was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video. That they're both headliners, and they're behind each other's dressing rooms, and like it was just it was great, and it was great for both genres of music. You know what I'm saying? And those are, again, right? Run DMC, Def Jam, Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin and stuff like that. Like, those were the pioneers. They were instrumental. I mean, there was movies. There was like Crush Groove. That was all Def Jam. That was based on one of the Def Jam artists of that time, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, that was huge. That was monumental. That was like, it was crazy.
Right.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
And the reason I bring that up is because sometimes, to your point, what you brought up earlier, where you have somebody who, because they're such a big star or such a big attraction, where, like you said, Michael Jordan had mom watching basketball, and not just watching basketball, but knowing about it, and understanding what's going on. And Mike Tyson taking people that didn't watch boxing, making them watch it.
Right.
Taking the casual fan and turning them into a real fan.
Right.
Now they understand. Right. He's in the heavyweight division.
And now they're
right. And
I don't think that happens to everybody.
No, it doesn't happen to everybody.
No.
But you have these transcendent figures. And so and again, I didn't live through it, but what that record Walk This Way did, taking like you said, people who listen to Aerosmith who would probably never have touched hip hop music. I'm like, wait a minute, that was their first taste of it. I'm like, wait a minute, if this is what it is, then I could probably rock with it.
Even though as big as it was for hip hop, I still think they were still even from them for it to think they were probably at least still 10, 15 years removed from his potential from Sting. I mean even 10, 15 years after that, that was still. I mean, I don't know. I think hip hop had the longest golden age than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because it took so long, but once it did, it just took off. But like I had predicted before, and this was, you know what I mean. You know, your mother could attest to this. That what I said, I was like, hip hop was just gonna just be pillaged and plundered and commercialized, and who's gonna be more rappers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I predicted that because that's what it was, because it was gonna be profitable. It had no choice but to be profitable, and when something's profitable, people are gonna exploit it and they're gonna make money off of it. And that's what it's gonna be, and that's what it was, and that's what it became, and that's what it is now. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no money in hip hop. There's money in rap.
Tons of it.
You know what I'm saying? So either way, it's that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a good thing because now, you know, you have people that came from places where I came from, or whatever the case. Even if we don't from where I'm from, people have an outlet, especially now that it makes it so much easier with the internet and everything else. Then you can make a lot of money. You don't have to do bad things to make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So that's a positive. That's a positive. That these people that grew up the way that I did, that they could just get online, and there's so much more easy opportunity in order to make money. And you ask a lot of people that came up in the game or whatever, and it was just like, if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for this music or whatever, I would be breaking through your window right now.
Well, do you think that there's less of an appreciation for it because of that? Because of now again, I'm not. Yes, the access is easier, right? More people have access, more people have opportunities. Like you said, record labels aren't necessarily needed anymore.
Right.
There's way more artists going independent because of the fact that they can grow a following.
Absolutely.
But do you think that there's now with that, before I ask the question, with that comes more challenges because now things are oversaturated,
Of course,
right?
of
Because
course.
everybody,
Just like
anybody can do it.
just like anything else. But like I said, I mean, even with that, right? There's still lanes available everywhere, because now with the advent of the internet or whatever, like now the world is your oyster, right? You can reach out to anybody, right? I know people. Okay, so you can't sell records here in America, but you could probably sell records in Japan. You could probably sell records in Africa. You could probably sell records in New Zealand. You could probably, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you could probably sell records in Iceland, Slovenia. You can, the Czech Republic, and Russia. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with it being that popular, that okay, so right, so you buzzing over it. It's just no different from dudes that can't make it in the NBA.
Yeah, going overseas and getting
Like, right,
right. So,
you know what I mean,
and then I guess my question is because of, and I'm not necessarily, maybe I don't know if easier is the right word to use. And maybe it's just because it's more accessible. Do you think there's less of an appreciation for the process, for the grind, for the for what it takes?
man. I mean, I guess that's all subjective, and that's all personal opinion and everything else, because you know what I'm saying. I mean, I can't say I can go ahead and take a look at somebody and say, oh, well, this dude, well, let's say for instance, right, Soldier Boy, right?
Right.
I only know one or two of his records, but I know he was wildly popular, and he was one of the pioneers of making music online and marketing. That would be one of the pioneers, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I've seen him on interviews and stuff like that. Like I ain't got nothing negative to say about him, whatever. I mean, do I like his music? Absolutely not. But whatever. I'm not knocking him for it or whatever. So even people that they just throw some bullshit out there and it sticks on the wall and it sells, even if they don't put no effort into it or whatever, it is what it is. I can't comment on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's your grind. I ain't gonna knock your grind. And if you made it successful, then good for you.
Right.
Even if whatever it was that you did, you're successful at it, good for you. Even if you didn't put no effort in it, whatever, good for you. I ain't gonna hate on you because of it. Like whatever. Me personally, I would want to put more thought into it or whatever it is, or sometimes you put out a project and you give it your all and the shit. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So as far as that's concerned, is definitely subjective. You know what I mean? I can't, I can't, I can't comment on that. Like it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I know that I'm not a producer. I don't know what it takes to be a producer. I'm not a rapper. I don't do any of those things, so I don't know what it takes. Um, but I know it's different for everybody. For this person than it is for this person.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I was just curious to that because, I just, we hear a lot of commentary that, this generation, upcoming, even my generation, and upcoming generations are some of the laziest. Like they don't want to work. They,
I mean, again, man, again, I'm pretty sure the generation of the people that say that, the people before them probably said the same thing about them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there differences between the generations? Absolutely, no question, no nothing. But the world is ever changing.
Radical
So people
different.
change, right?
But
Radically different. I mean, I just think about just the advent of technology the past 30 years has been mind blowing. It's been warp speed, right? From 30 years ago, having a cordless phone in your house was a big deal.
Right.
No, to the point that people don't even have phones in their houses.
You don't need them.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so
That's a great point. How things are just being made obsolete so quickly.
right, right. So the technology is so fast. Like that's one of the things also. And again, things change, times change, everything else, right? Everything else, and then of course where people grow up at, um, their family structure plays a different. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I mean, if you come from a third world country and you know about grinding in a third world country, you're definitely gonna come here and look at the people here a little bit different than what it was back in your third world country, or you come here and you make it, or whatever the case is, whatever the case is. So, I mean, do I think these generations that are after me are different? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think that they soft? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think. That's what I think. But again, I can just be one of the people, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? And I'll say, well, like the old adage goes, the old people like, oh, back in my days, we used to walk up, you know, like backwards on broken glass just to this or whatever.
Just to get to school.
Right. And that could be true. You know what I'm saying? But same thing for us, right? Whatever you say, that could be true, and it might not be true, whatever. But the point is this: now I don't have to.
Well,
now you don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you bring up an interesting point because it seems like we, in at least in our culture and maybe in the minority culture in general, is we seem to glorify the struggle. And what I mean by that is, it seems like if someone came from less, that there's more validity to them getting something than there is. Well, I don't know. I just want to finish it. Then we seem to glorify that, to be like, wow, like that person, they got it out the mud, right? Where this person, yeah, they have both parents, and the parents have stable jobs, and they didn't have to worry about what they ate, what they were gonna eat, and yada yada. Instead of looking at progress and saying like, look at where you're
Right.
at.
Right.
And so I think when you say things like that, as far as like, yeah, the generation before, you said we had to walk up backwards up a hill and broken glass to get to school or whatever, isn't the purpose of what we do to make it so that the next generation
doesn't do those things.
right? Not that they don't have to work hard, but that they don't have to, that they're not as far back.
Right. And of course, and that's what it is, right?
Like I expect my children to work hard,
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, you see, that's the whole thing about it, right? My job was to create opportunities for you guys and making the hardships I went through less for you.
That you didn't have the opportunities that you
Right, exactly. Right. To make the hardships less for you.
right.
That was my job.
Right.
And that's what I tried to accomplish, right?
Yep.
That was our job.
Yep.
So whenever we see opportunities being squandered,
It's frustrating.
it's frustrating because it's like, bro, you know what I had to go through to get through this, and I didn't have these opportunities, and I'm giving them to you, and you're not fulfilling. And I think that's where that comes from, right? Because just like everything else, right? Everybody tries to do that. And when you see people not doing what to do, like, you know what I used to do to do this, to get here. And here it is, you got all of this, and you didn't have to go through any of this. Now you're not doing what you got to do. That's where it comes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the problem is that the young people, they don't understand that. They don't get that. That's why old people say, well, we have to do this and we have to do that. And then that's why sometimes it's difficult to imagine the thing. Well, you would never survive, because if you can't even do this, you know what I'm saying? You can't do this. And then we didn't have no Google, and we didn't have
Right.
no Google Maps, and we didn't have no cell phone, and we had to walk everywhere. We had to do this.
Right.
You have all of these advances, and you still ain't doing nothing. And you're still 30 years old, and you're still living in my house.
Bullshit.
Right. Exactly. When I was 16 years old, and I was homeless, and I was doing this, and I was still, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was taking care of people, and I was still doing all that. I mean, how can you know what I mean? And that's where the frustrations come, and then things like that. And then you see everything around, and you see the young generation and stuff like that. When even out in the field working, and you see people, these young people, that they don't want to strive, they don't want to make money. It's like, bro, you're making $50 an hour. You don't like it, and you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You complain,
like,
complaining.
right? You're making $50 an hour. You don't like it, and you want to work it, bro. When I started doing this, it was $10 an hour. Like it just,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, you upset about something? Like, it just doesn't compute.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting point, because I think it's all about perspective. Like, you know, I've always lived with, I wouldn't say it's a pressure, but, you know, just knowing some of the things that you and mom went through is just like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be successful.
Yeah, no, listen.
But, you know, but again, like, that's the way I view it, is like, y'all did all these things. You're here. When I look at you guys, I view, like, yeah, that's success. And I'm like, I didn't have 99.9% of the struggles that you guys had. You know what I mean? Like, and listen, like,
you're supposed to.
everybody goes through shit though. Like, I don't want to discredit,
Of course,
people, because too many times we look at money as the solve for everything, when honestly, we all know money is really the root of a lot of evil.
Right.
But yeah, because everybody goes through their own struggles. But I didn't have to go through 99.99% of the shit that you and mom went through.
Right.
And you'll admit it, like, some of the things were self-created, but other things were created by the people that were supposed to take care of your environment.
But even
like that. So there's no excuse for me to not be successful.
Even what I think of, even if you didn't know those things, right? Even if we never spoke about our past, even if you knew nothing about our past, right? You saw what we did. You saw what I did, right?
Right.
You saw me, no matter the weather, no matter the time, no matter my physical ailment, no matter what was going on with me, I got up every single day, went to work, no matter what, right? No matter what, no matter if it was cold, if it was raining, if I was hurt, if I was tired, if I was hungry, whatever, right? You guys pulled me out of bed and put my boots up.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get out of bed.
I
went out to work, right?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So regardless of whatever I said that I went through, whatever, that's irrelevant. You guys saw what we did.
Yes.
You guys saw what we did.
Yeah.
And we're not superhuman. We're not the smartest people in the world. We're not college educated. You saw what we did. You saw the hard work and the
Right.
dedication. So that should be the biggest motivator, regardless of whatever I told you. Regardless if I told you that I walked through jungles to get here or whatever it is. That's factual. You saw what we did.
That's factual.
You saw what
That and again, like that, I think that goes to, like, again, when we're talking about understanding the history of things, though. And so, like, you said, like, even if we didn't share it, like, you guys sharing what you went through was really influential and important. Because I always tell people, like, no, I didn't grow up in the hood. No, I didn't have to worry about, I was never hungry. No, I was never homeless. No, I never had to worry about anything. Really, right? Basic needs. The basic needs were covered. Right. I didn't have to, I was like, but my parents did. And so, even though I didn't live through it, because there are benefits that you get from situations like that, right? You learn to become scrappy. You learn how to, you learn how to, you learn how to be like, you know what, we're gonna make do with what we have. Right. So there are certain benefits. So I was like, I got all the benefits from those situations without having to live through it because my parents lived through it and they passed that on.
Right.
So I think like you said with the when we talked about the sports stuff and even in music, right? Understanding the history of things helps because it's like,
yeah, it's important.
Well, if they were able to do this with no pot pissing, and I got the fucking fanciest toilet in the world, then you better bet that I got to get this shit right. Like, what's my excuse?
Right.
I ain't got one. There's no excuse. It's just the fact that if I fail,
right,
it's
again. It's like I said, regardless of whatever it is that we went through, or like I said, even if that didn't imagine, or I mean, even if that didn't exist, like that's irrelevant. That doesn't matter. Even if I told you that was all made up, that we lied about every single bit of that, that we lived in a mansion, that we did, that the truth was that we were rich and we lived in a mansion, it still doesn't matter because you saw what we did every single day.
That's fact.
Day in, day out. Day in, day out, you saw what we did. So I could say that because that would be just me using something that I went through as a crutch. And that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. You saw what we did.
No, it's a fact. Look,
you know what I'm saying? You saw what we did. So I mean, it's great that we were able to get through those things or whatever. Again, this is why I say this is some of my frustrations that I have with certain people, and they say, "Oh, well, I can't do this because I got kids, and I can't do this because of this, and I can't do this because of this." To me,
I'm tired. I'm hurting.
I get it. It's different. I get it. It's difficult. You got children. Of course, it's difficult.
You're hurt.
It's right. It's more difficult to do things when you got little ones or whatever, stuff like that.
Right.
I get it. It's that, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
You still do what you got to do.
That's I agree. Number one, like you
and it's not that I'm not sympathetic or I'm not empathetic, whatever. I get it. You still got to do what you got to do. That doesn't negate the fact that you got to do.
You got to get done.
What you got to do, right? I saw your aunt moving in the blizzard, the shopping cart.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying. Like
that's crazy. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what you got.
Still gotta get done. But I remember one thing you said, which was, I forgot how old I was when you first told me this. It was like, listen, you're like, there's very few people in this world that are victims of circumstance, right? Like some people are just, they're born in war-torn countries. They're victims of circumstance. Some people are born to, foster homes where they get abused, and unfortunately, they didn't get to choose that. They're victims of circumstance, right? We're like, a majority of people in this world, especially in this country, are victims of making their circumstance the excuse of why they can't be there, right?
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me because it's like, you can either make an excuse of why you couldn't be great, or you can go and be great,
right? And great doesn't mean that you're rich,
right?
Great doesn't mean that's your thing, that you're
famous,
that you're famous. That's not what great means. That's not what great means. People think that being great, that being successful that being successful means being rich. That being successful, no. No, that's not. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's not what being successful is. As far as I'm concerned,
Right.
that's not what being successful is. I think, you know what I'm saying? If you if you're happy where you at in your life, um, and if you're happy and you're comfortable where you at in your life, regardless of how much you have or what little you have, then you're successful. As far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. I mean, what if you're at the quality of life that you want, or whatever it is, like that's what success is. Success is not what one man tells me what success is, because I know people that are poor that they are happier than I am. I know people that are rich that are miserable.
Right. I mean, rich people take their own lives.
Right. 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 So success is it doesn't mean what you get. It doesn't mean your wealth. It doesn't mean any of that. You know what I'm saying? The success is different. People see it different for, you know what I mean? I remember when I was staying when I was going through tough times, and I lived in New York. I used to, you know, go down. I used to go to Thompson Square Park. I used to go down there and I used to just sit in the park bench, and I used to talk to a lot of homeless people. And I used to talk to a lot of, veterans that they were, went through or whatever it was. And they were real interesting people. And I would sit there and I would just watch people. And like I said, I used to talk to a lot of homeless people. And a lot of them, there was some that they wasn't mentally disabled. I mean, a lot of them they were or whatever, but there was some that they wasn't. There was people that I spoke to, whether they were lying or not, but they had great college education, and they were happy doing what they were doing. That they were happy living the life that they lived, that they were carefree and they were unnoticed by society. You know what I'm saying? That they were basically not really under any law or any jurisdiction or whatever. And they had their own places where they would eat, somewhere they would bathe, and their own thing, but they was not part of the normal society. They just pull themselves away from that society, but still being in plain sight.
Sure.
And all the comfort that they wanted to being in a big city or the environment that they were in, around the people that were in, being visible, and the anonymity of it all is what they wanted. Or there was free spirits, and that's what they wanted to do. They didn't want to build, they didn't want to pay taxes, they didn't want to live in apartments, they didn't want to, they were happy what they were doing.
Mm.
Right? So is that unsuccessful?
Mm.
That unsuccessful? If you're doing what it is that you want to do, is that unsuccessful?
Right.
I mean, me personally, I would not think so, because I would want to have a place to eat, whatever, if you're happy doing what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the definition of success is something that's personal to everybody, right? Like you got to go out and you got to define it. But I mean, if I want to define it, am I doing what makes me happy? It's definitely a piece of it, right?
Right.
But then of course, like when you become a father and a husband, those things drastically change,
Of course.
because I mean, now it's like, all right. Now my happiness resides in, first and foremost, is my wife.
That's happiness.
Right? Is my wife good? That's first and foremost, right? Above the children. Is my wife because if my wife's taken care of, the kids are gonna be taken care of, right? Like that's just how it works.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if mama's not happy, no one's happy.
Right.
And so
No, there's no question.
you know what I mean? And that's how it should be, right? Like, women are the most, if not the most precious thing, very close to it ever created. And so just making sure like they're taken care of. Now for me, that's what success is. It's like, is my wife good? Okay.
Yeah.
My children are good?
Like I said, man, I mean,
All right.
success
Then
is what people think is not, being rich or whatever it is whatever. I mean, I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and miserable. There's no question.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't even say 100% because I've never been poor. I don't know what that's like. But I would assume that
It's right. Even when I was broke and I was homeless or whatever, I don't think I've been poor because even then, even when I didn't have any money, I just never worried about money. I just knew it was a necessary thing that I had to get it, get it. But it was never like it was never a big stress for me. Right. I mean, I don't know. I was more concerned with other things, the things that I had to be concerned about because I had avenues and ways that I would, I mean, regardless of whatever it is, right? I mean, if it to take care of my family and to feed my family, I'm gonna do I need to do and know that there's opportunities out there for me to do whatever it is that I need to do, right, to take care of them. Yes, right, right. So that wasn't the issue, right? Because whatever it was, whether it was working or whatever it is, I mean, of course, I'm always gonna try to do things the honest way.
Sure.
But if I'm desperate and whatever, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to take care of my family because that's what I gotta do.
Yeah, your son's gonna have milk.
Right. So as far as that's concerned, I mean, I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe that's an ambition thing or drive thing or whatever it is that I've never, you know, per se. Oh my God! Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you know. So as far as that, I mean, I think being poor, being poor is a situation of desolation that you don't even have the opportunities or the resource to do anything to better improve your situation. That's what I think poor is, right? That's what I think definition of poor is. That I don't even have a chance. I don't even have the opportunity. That there's nothing here for me to be able to do to better my situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think poor is.
No, I think that's a beautiful definition. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I live in one of these countries that there's nothing. Like what can
You stop.
there's nothing that I can do in order to be able to make money, in order to be able there's not even nobody here to rob the feed.
Yeah, like even if you're
There's nothing like I can't
even if you're making
I can't even grow food here.
right, even if you're making money, like there's nothing that you could do to improve your situation. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The definition for it.
I like that.
You even look at you look at homeless people in this country and they live better than people in certain countries. The homeless people.
You bet. You bet they
You know what
do.
I'm saying? So
Right. I think, yeah, I agree with that because whenever there's an opportunity available, now it becomes down to now it's a will thing. It's just you don't want to go and get it. It's available to you. We talked about it, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ago, where it's like um all the information, all the stuff that you could possibly want to learn is at your fingertips now in today's world, right? Like there are places where you get access to internet for free in this country.
yeah.
And so you choose not to do it.
Right.
You choose to remain ignorant at that point, right?
I mean,
So now it's not like
they have disabilities and things.
oh, of course, that's not
Those things are different.
that's excluding those things, right?
And I'm not saying I'm not discrediting everything, right? Because being a single parent is difficult, right? Being in an abusive relationship is difficult.
Yes.
Being homeless is difficult, right? Being a victim of abuse, having any kind of mental handicap or having any kind of physical handicap or whatever, those things are difficult.
Right.
Right? All those things are difficult.
Right.
I'm not taking us away from it. However, right? However, I see people in places that are clearly disabled. They work, do things, right? I mean, it's just, I mean, there's opportunity if that's what you want to do. If you want to be successful to whatever degree you want, you can do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, again, especially in this country,
Right.
right? But yeah, I mean, it's all about You know, it's really easy to say things when you don't know what things are like, right? That's just from my own perspective, right? Like, like, why wouldn't they just go and do XYZ thing? Why would they go and do this? And but again, I mean, what I know is different. The way I was raised was different, and I think this is why it's so difficult. I mean, because you've been married for 30 plus years, but when two people come together, whether it be a relationship, short term, long term, marriage, whatever it is, why it's so difficult is because, right, especially in marriage, like you're working hard to become pretty much one person, right? Like you're trying to walk in lockstep. So like whatever that person's thinking, you're thinking. How they move, you move. Uh, but it's difficult because you might be at this level that's right here on the topic, you know, and your partner might be at a different level.
Yeah.
And you can't, and that could be because of what you believe. That could be on your upbringing. It could be your background. It could be a majority of things. I mean, a bunch of different things. But what makes it difficult is because it's so easy to say, why don't you just do this? And to you, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
But to the person that you're with, it's like, well, I don't really understand that thing.
I don't know, man. I mean,
The only person doesn't talk to or whatever.
out of all the years that I've been married and stuff like that, I mean, I think I'm really happy with with the way me and my wife we're different. I think that if we were the same, I think it would be an opportunity um for us to be able to manipulate each other. I think I'm glad that we see things differently, that we think differently. I mean, we have certain goals and certain standards and certain, what I'm saying, that are in common. But we're different people with different personalities, and we see things differently. And I think that that's great. That's a blessing because we see things differently. We're not looking at everything through the same set of eyes, and I think that could be detriment if you are, because now you're limiting what it is that you see because you're seeing things exactly the same. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that is not challenging at times, but it's always good to have a different set of eyes on things and different thoughts and different things. I mean, again, there's challenges and nothing is easy, but I wouldn't I wouldn't I wouldn't change your mind to say, well, I wish you thought more like this. I wish you like
Sure.
or at this time, there's moments of frustration. It's like, bro, fuck.
Right.
That's what it's gonna be with anything, with anybody, anywhere, in any situation. There's always gonna be times like that, but I wouldn't change anything. I mean, of course, it's ease and everything else, and but me personally, again, I don't think that it would be good for us anyway if we were the same people and the same attitude and the same outlook on things and everything else. I don't think it would be good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I guess what I was trying to say is, um, you're trying to walk in unison with a person, not necessarily being the same person, but sometimes those cultural differences
Culture differences are tough, or religious differences.
religious differences,
There's a lot of things.
differences in upbringing, right? And so
Yes, absolutely.
you go through those things, and so I guess what I'm saying is it's hard for and it could be a point of contention or frustration when you can see something so clearly because of your background, religious belief, whatever, and the person you're trying to explain it to sees it completely differently, right? And you're like,
Different people, different outcomes, different.
but I I think it ties back to the conversation that we were having about music, which was you have people that hip hop purists. So I'll consider you one, right? Where it's like you know what you're looking for. You know what it's supposed to be because you grew up alongside it, right? If any, like there's not many people. I mean, of course, there's many people, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not many people that can say they grew up in the South Bronx, say, and were born in the same place. Hip hop was born around the same exact time and grew up with it. I'm sure there's a good amount of people that
yeah. I mean,
and compared to the entire population of the earth, it's a very small percentage of people.
right. But I mean,
But
New York is a big place.
New York's a big place. But again, also like when you like global level, or even just looking at America level, it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to get people to understand the difference between hip hop and rap, or why hip hop needs these elements to be hip hop, you're trying to explain the history of things, and you're so passionate about it, and you're saying these are why these things are important. And they're kind of like,
And right, yeah, because of again,
why? So like frustrated.
it's absolutely frustrating because I mean, it's just like it's just like raising a kid, right? It's just like you raised the kid, you nurtured it, you took care of it, you saw all the way to this point, and then somebody comes up on your kid, like, eh, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things, and then and then being biased because people, I'm pretty sure people on even though maybe they wasn't there for the founding of hip hop, but I'm pretty sure when hip hop broke off in other places in the world or whatever, and they were there for that, I'm sure that was important for them to see the birth of that genre there, or whatever,
Right.
or even different kinds of music. You know what I'm saying? Like freestyle music in New York City. You know what I mean? Or like go-go music in DC, or whatever. So
I saw a fact. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, I think first and foremost, I mean, good music is getting made. And so, I mean, people benefit from it,
yeah,
period.
yeah. Look,
Right.
again, I don't knock the hustle. I mean, whatever, rap, hip hop, whatever. I mean, look, if it's keeping you, you know what I'm saying, you got a job, you working, you paying your taxes, you good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Good. You know what I mean? What does it matter what I think?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, keep doing you, and that's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If it helps you get through a day, because we all know music can be therapeutic.
Yeah, just don't call it hip hop.
Just don't call it hip hop.
Just hip hop. That actually would be
That's the title.
show you.
Yeah, that's the title. Just don't call it hip hop.
Don't call it hip hop.
That definitely don't call it whatever you want.
Just don't call it hip hop.
Just don't call it hip hop.
Again, I mean, I ain't mad at nobody. I'm not even mad at these green corporations, these green record labels and executives that exploit the music. Uh, I ain't mad at any of the so-called culture vultures or whatever it is. I mean, it's the opportunity to make money, and if the shoe was on the other foot, that's probably what 9 out of 10 times people would do. Right. What it is, what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I mean, do these record labels and companies, do they exploit artists? Yeah, but that's not exclusive to hip hop.
No, that's everywhere.
Right. That's not exclusive to hip hop. I mean, is it more prevalent in hip hop? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Sure.
Because the people, they're probably from the inner city, they're probably minority, and they're probably
Looking for a way out.
right. Whatever. Do they exploit them more? Probably. I don't know. But that seems to be the consensus or whatever. I'm not even mad at them. I'm not mad at them. I mean, as an artist or whatever, yeah. I mean, shit ain't fair. Be smarter.
Listen, yeah.
Be smarter.
Yeah.
Say,
Nah,
be
we
smarter.
I take a similar opinion to that, which is, like at the end of the day, regardless of what your situation is, not right for people to prey on your situation, but people will do it.
Of course. Unfortunately, you gotta do that. That's like even people that they'll go on these podcasts or whatever, and they'll talk and they'll incriminate yourself. That's like Vlad TV. That was a big one to say Vlad is working with the feds, or whatever. But it's like, bro, the bottom line is this: Vlad's job is to get clicks. That's his job, and you're going on. And if you got an open case, whatever it is, and he's asking you questions about it, and we don't talk about it, you incriminating yourself, then you should know better. Is it right what Vlad's doing? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not condoning what he says. I don't agree with it or whatever it is, but you should be smarter than that.
But you know what it is.
You should be, yeah,
Right. You should do some research.
Does he prey on these people, mental acuity or whatever? Yeah, but he does, because I saw some of the interviews. And these people, they're not smart enough, or whatever the case is. Whatever the case is. But am I mad at him? No. Would I go about it same way he did? Nah, because that's not what I'm about. But you gotta be smarter than that, and I'm not mad about that, right? I mean, I played with lions. At some point, you're probably gonna bite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
You can't cry about it.
Right.
That's the thing. And I think that's where, because we talk about it on the show, and on this is, I get frustrated when I see people, like people holding out of contracts and all these things. It's like, but you signed, you agreed,
Right.
you agree, whether it was wrong or not, whether the actual predatory or not. The fact of the matter is,
That's what you said.
that's your name, that's your signature there,
Right.
and it's you can't live in this day and age in society. We talked about it with all the things available to you.
Yeah.
To claim ignorance is tough. Now, I'm not gonna judge people for doing that, right? It's easy to throw stones outside the glass house. You said research the history. You're not the first person, and you are not gonna be the last person to be in that situation. So either you can go and just say, I'm gonna be different, or you can be like, you know what? Let me go learn, because people are more than willing to share their experiences, because people don't want to see other people go through the same things that they face. Oh, good people don't anyways, right? They don't, like, listen, if I'm a good person, I'm driving on a road and I fall into a ditch. If I get out, I'm probably going to be like, hey, there's a ditch there. It's right. Exactly that.
Right.
If I'm not a good person, I won't.
I mean, people ain't always good people, but I mean, my thing is this, man. I'm not here to be anybody's moral compass. See, people make up their minds and they do what they got to do, and I'm not gonna judge you for it. You do what it is that you do or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, again, I'm not gonna. I mean, if I do something wrong, if I commit a crime, or if I do something wrong, and I get punished for doing what I did wrong, it's just.
You gotta eat it.
Like, it's just. So whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't gonna go on the interview and talk about the knuckleheaded shit that I did, and then get prosecuted the next day.
Right.
On me.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Again.
Shame on me. I mean, yeah, granted, this guy, it probably would have been better if he would have not asked me these questions to get me out, but I don't have to answer these questions.
Right. But hey, listen,
I'm not talking about that.
I'm not talking about that right now.
I'll walk out the interview or whatever it is. Like
whatever it is.
There's plenty of people that have done that. Like,
whatever it is you want to seek advice from your legal team. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Don't call it hip hop.
Don't call it hip hop.
Don't call it hip hop. That's fire.